It is time to finally build that God Squad. Stay frosty and head to buymaddencoins.com for the cheapest, fastest, and most reliable Mutt coins on the market. I'll even help you shave off a few bucks. Use code DIRECTOR at checkout for 20% off. Kia ora, brothers, what's up? It's the Director, Madden Ultimate Team fans. I'm so excited to reveal something that I've been putting a ton of hours into, something I think could reshape how we play Madden Ultimate Team.
Are you serious?
Something bringing in real life fantasy football into Madden Ultimate Team, and it promises to be an awesome video. Guys, if you like this content, hit us up with a like and sub. All this stuff took so long to Photoshop, so it'd be highly appreciated. Without further ado, guys, let's get into this Madden 21 game concept. For a lot of Madden fans, football is life. We study the combine, we watch the draft, we subscribe to news outlets for our individual teams, we even keep tabs on players during camp and workouts. It's a hobby, borderlining obsession. I definitely fall under this category. We'll categorize ourselves as the super fans.
I thought I smelled some aged cheese. Have a seat.
The reason a lot of us play to begin with is to further immerse ourselves into the world of the NFL. And even if sometimes the game falls short, our love for football stays the same. But one of the biggest methods I use to immerse myself into NFL football every single year is definitely fantasy football.
If you like football, then you like fantasy. Fantasy football, fantasy.
I spend hours and hours studying players, listening to podcasts, reading articles, and doing mock drafts, all leading up to our epic annual draft. This was the best draft we've ever had! Oh my god! What a feeling. What excitement you experience when you finally see your strategy and roster come together. Fantasy football is one of the ultimate ways to make Sundays that much more exciting. And every year I ask myself the same question. What if Madden offered a way to enjoy fantasy football in-game? Think about that. Just think about that on the surface for a second. What if somehow you could play fantasy football in Madden? Now, there are ways I feel this could be accomplished. One is through franchise. This, of course, would be simulated a world of synthetic games and scoring. Still, that could add an extra layer of excitement and immersion, especially in connected franchise with your friends. But what I'm talking about is real fantasy football, something using real-world statistics, something that makes you tune in on Sundays and really gets your heart pumping, something that I feel could work in Madden's Ultimate Team game mode. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking, but Director, Mutt is the reason Madden is bad. Why put more resources into it? But Director, EA would never do this. Yes, I'd say parts of those arguments are valid, but it doesn't make the idea impossible. Let's discuss how fantasy football might work within Madden Ultimate Team. Now, this is a concept that I came up with myself, so take it with a grain of salt if it appears imperfect. But I'd like to think it lays a solid foundation for something very fun and exciting. First, what are the stakes? I think we can all agree that one of the things that make fantasy exciting is what we throw down. Yes, this means you'd likely need to buy in with coins. This is similar to other modes that already exist in Madden Ultimate Team. This all leads me to segue into the most obvious similar template that could make Mutt Fantasy possible: Draft Champions. A Draft Champions allows you to assemble a team through 22 rounds of player selection. Now imagine if a similar template was used to construct a fantasy team. Here is my vision. Mode title: Weekly Mutt Fantasy. Think about daily fantasy platforms like DraftKings or FanDuel, where you create a new team every week. This mode would offer less of a turn-based draft and more of a team composition method using different player values, very similar to DraftKings. This would offer a chance to compose a new team every week using real-world player values based on weekly matchups. You'd start by entering the weekly fantasy menu. Here you can choose to enter into a standard league for 9,000 coins or ranked league with an entry fee of of 50,000 coins. You would then be dropped into a matchmaking screen where you and 12 other players make up a lobby. Once the queue is full, your team draft will begin. This is where things get interesting. Now, this concept will represent the real week 1 of the 2020 season. Much like draft champions, you'll have a chance to fill a roster, but instead of choosing 22 players, you would only need 9, composed of a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex. This mode would use a unique menu organizing based on position. Let's start with quarterback. Now, you'll notice some big names right away. Lamar Jackson versus Cleveland, Patrick Mahomes versus Houston, Deshaun Watson versus Kansas City, and so on and so forth. These quarterbacks carry a fantasy cap number with them on the bottom of the card. This is similar to salary cap, but uses an algorithm much like DraftKings to determine the cost of a player given their skill and matchup. It will be up to you to compose a decent fantasy squad while staying under budget. In this example, let's say your budget is 10,000 FC or fantasy cap. You'll see that on the top right hand side of the screen. Now let's look at the prices of these top tier quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson costs a hefty 2,000 FC, Patrick Mahomes 1,700, Deshaun Watson 1,500, and Russell Wilson 1,500. Now if you think about it, you got 9 spots to fill, which on average only allows you to spend around 1,100 FC on each position, which means if we selected Lamar Jackson, we would only have 8,000 to fill the rest of our roster. From here, it's basically a numbers game. Let's go ahead and take Deshaun with this pick. Next, let's look at running back. We're gonna need 2 to fill this roster. The top 4 here are CMC, Saquon Barkley, Zeke, and Josh Jacobs. Now I know we'll be working on a budget here, so let's scroll over a little bit further to some cheaper options at halfback. Todd Gurley, 1,500, Austin Eckler, 1,400, Nick Chubb, 1,400, and Miles Sanders, 1,200. I think we can afford at least one big back name, so let's take Eckler here because I'm an obvious homer and scroll a little further to the right. Next we see David Johnson for 900, Marlon Mack for 800, Raheem Mostert for 800, and Leonard Fournette for 800. Honestly, when you're looking at value, some of these names look pretty good, and these are values you'll find very similar to other sites like FanDuel and DraftKings, so it wouldn't hurt looking up those statistics before going into your fantasy Mutt draft. And we need a budget guy here, so let's go with someone with good upside. Let's take Raheem Mostert with this pick. Now at this point, you guys are kind of getting the idea. From here on, it's rinse and repeat. Fiddle around with your lineup until you find a nice balance you're confident in. When ready, select Locked In. You'll be then transferred to a team menu. Here is where we will find a fun Mutt bonus feature to this mode. The players you just drafted will then be inserted into a Mutt fantasy lineup using the best available cards in Madden Ultimate Team for each player. And any gaps will be filled with generic gold to low elite players. This value can rise as the year goes on. Now, I'm sorry I didn't Photoshop an entire team. That would have taken a tremendous amount of work, but here's a representation. You guys will get the idea. Now, director, what about defense? Well, your defense will be composed of the 7 best players from the defense you drafted and also autofill the gaps just like on offense. You can then use this team competitively in Madden for a full week, playing Mutt fantasy seasons to win additional rewards. I would say very similar to the way Draft Champions works. This should help build your hype around your team as we get closer to Sunday. Now let's get into the juicy stuff, the in real life football application of this mode. Imagine it's Sunday morning. You've enjoyed a relaxed week of Mutt Fantasy, but today is the real thing. You sit back, prop your feet up, and get ready to see your Mutt Fantasy team go to work. Kansas City kicks off to Houston, and their opening drive, your quarterback Deshaun Watson passes for 35 yards and a score. Hell yeah, that's points for the squad. You then open up your Madden mobile app and select the Mutt Fantasy option to check the leaderboard of your 12-man Mutt League. You're in the lead. You end the day in first place with Monday Night Football still remaining on the schedule. The next day, you come home from work and fire up Madden 21. Monday Night Football's playing in the other room. You open the Mutt Fantasy menu in-game to check the leaderboards again. Looking good, but the second place team has just passed you with the score by Melvin Gordon. 4 points behind. Game on the line. Final drive of the game. Titans have the ball down by 6. Your sleeper wide receiver, A.J. Brown, lines up opposite A.J. Bouye. Ryan Tannehill takes the snap, sees Brown open deep, takes the shot, touchdown, Titans. Your name jumps back up to first place on the leaderboard. The clock winds down. You've just won your Week 1 Mutt Fantasy League. Hell yeah, sweet victory. Now, if the excitement of fantasy wasn't enough, Wednesday rolls around. You check your binder to find a Mutt Fantasy pack. Inside, you find a first place Fire Fantasy Pack containing a choice of 250,000 coins, or a Fire Fantasy Pack that gives you 3 options from some of the best players on your winning fantasy lineup. Let's take the pack. Boom, 89 overall, team of the week to Sean Watson. Not too bad, kid. As for the other 11 players, they won't be left empty-handed. Second place receives 50,000 coins in a touchdown pack. Third place receives 25k in a red zone pack. Fourth through sixth place, 10k in a midfield pack, and 7th through 12th place, 5k in a Hail Mary pack. You check the Mutt menu, week 1 is complete. It's time to get ready for week 2, where the excitement starts all over again. This to me would be one of the funnest new modes in Madden, something epic to keep us engaged through the regular season and even perhaps the playoffs, giving us the chance to merge the hype we have for Madden with real-life NFL fantasy football. This is my pitch. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please give me your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. I understand my numeral values realistically need tuning, from player value to cost of entry to reward amount, but the concept is there. And I hope to one day see a true Mutt fantasy mode come to fruition. Well, if you guys like this video, hit us up with a like and sub, man. I really enjoy your guys' time here. Again, really looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say in the comment section below. Let's cross our fingers that one day we can get real life fantasy football merged with Madden Ultimate Team. Guys, thanks again for joining me. This has been The Director. We'll see you next time, and as always, stay frosty.